Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for joining Reserved Investments for another wonderful, fun-filled video. Today we're going to answer the question, what's in the box? And in case you're unaware, there was an excellent movie that came out in the 1990s. I was there because I'm an old guy. I'm in my 40s. And it was called Seven, and it starred Brad Pitt, Kevin Spacey, and Morgan Freeman. And at the end of that video, they answered a similar question as to what is in the box. Now, to be fair, I don't want to traumatize some of the younger people that may be watching this channel, but if you do have a chance to see that movie, it's a very dark, gritty movie. I mean, the movie pretty much opens with a remix version of the song Closer from one of my favorite artists, 9 Inch Nails, and it closes with the song Heart's Filthy Lesson, written and performed by David Bowie. So you can imagine that the movie is incredibly dark. But if you are going to watch it, it's a very good movie because it simply answers the question, what's in the box? And again, the movie is called Seven. So without further ado, the sin that I have committed is greed. So today, we are going to be talking about something that I bought that I want to show you because if you listen to all the rumors out there on YouTube, apparently Reserved Investments doesn't invest in pop culture collectibles. Apparently, he just doesn't like that market. Now, I don't know where all these hateful comments and critical comments of how to invest in the antiques and collectibles trade are coming from. I set out from day one to set the record straight on what collectible finance is and what it isn't. And there are different dynamics that govern investing in antiques to that of investing in collectibles. But before I go off on a rant on this, we're going to get to what's in the box. If you want to learn more about investing in antiques and collectibles, simply go back and watch some of my other videos on the topic. So let's get to what's in the box. So, you guys know that I am a huge fan of absolute rarity versus that of conditional rarity, especially when investing in pop culture collectibles. So there are certain things that I do go after. There are certain esoteric markets, even in pop culture collectibles, that I do go after. And this is a prime example. Now, this particular piece was sent to me courtesy of Hake's Auction. So I do want to give a shout out. Hake's Auction, everybody, is where I got this. And this was made available in their most recent Star Wars and toy auction. So I'm already pretty much telling you the direction that this video is going to go. Now, full disclosure, in my opinion, I know that some of you are going to disagree when you learn how much this particular item is worth. I don't think that this is an extremely top-tier valuable item. This is not a rocket-firing Boba Fett prototype action figure that I'm going to be showing you today. But this is one of the markets that I truly like when we talk about vintage Star Wars, vintage toy collecting. So I want to make that very clear because I do see opportunity in items like this. But what you got to understand is that in certain instances, the market is just a little bit. It has a little bit limited opportunity because of what this piece is. Now, for the record, I do not like investing in traditional carded vintage action figures because of the risks. And in other videos, I do talk about those risks a great deal. You have yellowing bubbles, you have dried up tape, you have sometimes the bubbles become detached from the card that's holding the actual action figure. You have a whole minute plethora of issues that can affect those particular items. An item like this, though, can fit nicely in a safety deposit box. And guess what? There's not much to it. So I'm trying to open the item, and they packed it very, very, very well, which Hakes usually always does a good job on packing stuff very, very well. This is a proof card, believe it or not. Now, I am going to try to open this, or at least take the damn sticker off, because it's covering the way that it's packaged is packaged really well. And I didn't open it before this, believe it or not. All I did was broke the seal of the box. So I didn't see how they packaged this. So please forgive me. I know that you guys are waiting anxiously to see what this is, if you haven't already figured it out. So, Hakes usually has a great selection of very rare to somewhat common vintage Star Wars proof cards in their auctions. And this is one such example, if I can ever open the damn thing. Dear Lord. Okay, I just ripped the AFA back. So what this is This is a 45 back proof card to the Empire Strikes Back. And get this, guys. It is an AFA. Don't know if you could see that label. 90 plus condition. This is a Lobot card. I paid a little over $3,000 for this. I don't know if they sent me an invoice. I'm sure it's in one of these piles. But I do want to talk about this a lot because I am a huge fan of the more esoteric proof cards that were put out for the vintage Star Wars line. Now, I'm sure that a lot of you out there are wondering, what the hell is a proof card? Well, what happened was when they designed the card back for an action figure, what they do is they do a run of proof cards that show how the art is gonna appear in the card, and also where the action figure is gonna get glued to the card. And what they do is they review these prior to doing a full production run. So this is something that I consider to be a good investment if we're talking pop culture collectibles. Now, some of you may disagree because let's be realistic. No 6-year-old, 7-year-old, 8-year-old kid back in the day was looking forward to just get the backing of an action figure, which is really what this is. But hear me out. There are very few of these pieces in existence. Now, I like the Empire line and the Power of the Force line better than a lot of the other lines that are out there. You can argue that the original Star Wars line for proof cards, like 12 backs, even 2021 backs, they're out there, but they're very, very scarce, guys. So I like going after stuff that is available, but isn't too common. The Revenge of the Jedi line has potential, but most of the Revenge of the Jedi proof line is pretty much more common than the Empire line or even the Power of the Force line. So I really like that I was able to get this. And again, the fact that it's in, I don't know if you can see the grading label. It's an AFA 90 plus condition, which is immense for a piece like this. I mean, let's be realistic. This is from 1981, guys. So this is something that really holds merit. And even if you look at the card back, you can see it even looks different than what went into production. So this is a spectacular piece, in my opinion. And these are pieces that I do like collecting. These are pieces that I do like holding for the long term. Now, we do have to talk about this market a little bit because there was a time, believe it or not, just literally, a couple of years back where proof cards were not going for the prices they're going for now. And this is why I tell people to use caution if you're going after the Revenge of the Jedi proof cards. For those unaware, the reason why I'm saying Revenge of the Jedi, when Return of the Jedi was in pre-production stages, believe it or not, it was set to be called Revenge of the Jedi. George Lucas, at the last moment, changed the name to Return of the Jedi because he felt that a true Jedi warrior, I know I sound like a nerd when I'm telling you guys this. I know, I should put my glasses on. There you go. I sound like a real nerd when I'm talking about this, but just know that a true Jedi warrior would not get revenge on someone. So he changed it to Return of the Jedi, and that became the film's name when it released in 1984. Well, prior to that film coming out, for the action figure line, they did a series of proof cards that are called, where the film is called Revenge of the Jedi. And it's just like these, except it's done with that particular motif. And they got out in the market because Kenner Toys didn't even know that they were going to change the name at the last minute. So I think the Revenge of the Jedi proof cards, I think there's like 50 of each that were released into the market. That is a very large quantity for any type of proof card. That doesn't mean they're bad investments. If you guys look up what a Boba Fett Revenge of the Jedi proof card is going for right now, you're probably going to flip your lid. I mean, this was $3,000 and some change. A Boba Fett proof card is probably $8,000 to $9,000 on a Revenge of the Jedi card back. So let's just put that in perspective here, guys. Let's be also real. Lobot isn't one of the most popular characters in Star Wars. I mean, I think, honestly, he has no lines in Empire Strikes Back, the movie where he makes his debut, and he has limited screen time towards the end. That being said, though, I love the picture on the backing with the stormtroopers in the background. I consider this to be really, really cool for that reason, and that's why I just had to have it. I do invest in these particular pieces. Ironically, though, I do want to talk about something here. When I was bidding on this, somebody else was bidding me up And at the last minute, they put a bid in. And literally at one point, I put my bid in. Literally, if they would have came back and they would have bid it just $40 more, they would have actually won this because I was not going to pay any more. I was already at my maximum. And I said, you know what? I'm going to stop there. And this was just in the recent Hakes auction. So if you want to log on to Hakes, you can search completed auctions. You'll see what I paid for this. I was really close to hitting my max. So I was actually surprised that I got this. But just for you guys out there that claim, oh, I don't invest in pop culture collectibles. I don't buy any of this stuff for the long term. I go after stuff like this. I don't go after the common stuff, guys. I don't go after carded figures for reasons I've said in other videos. The problems that you have with yellowing bubbles, with dried up tape, with yellowing of the action figures themselves. There's a lot of issues there that I don't want to deal with over the long term. So anymore, I tend to go after the esoteric stuff. Now, a lot of people ask me, Sean, what if I don't like Star Wars and I want to go after a G.I. Joe proof card, because they do exist, or a Ghostbusters action figure proof card, or any of the other toy lines? To be honest, I consider Star Wars to be the blue chip, if there ever was a blue chip, in vintage toy collecting, and that's why I target Star Wars. I do not like G.I. Joe, Mask, Transformers, Masters of the Universe, those particular toy lines. Compared to Star Wars, pale in comparison when we are talking about investing in these markets. I'm not saying there's not opportunity there. I myself love G.I. Joe. I thought when the animated series premiered along with the toy line back in 1982, 1983, thought it was groundbreaking as a kid. Same thing with Masters of the Universe. Today as an adult, though, I don't see too many younger generations blocking to want to own those particular collectibles. Because literally, I'm going to say it, both Hasbro and Mattel, while they tried to breathe new life into those properties, it didn't really catch on like Star Wars has. Now, we can criticize Disney all day for their handling of the current Star Wars universe. I did see with Star Wars Celebration, there were 2 new films announced, I believe. I will say this, though. When we compare Star Wars to other toy lines, obviously, Star Wars is the more eternal brand, in my opinion. So that's why I tend to go after items like this. I just wanted to show you guys this because, again, I don't know what started it, but I do get criticism where apparently I'm not involved in the collectibles trade or I don't invest in those markets. That's 100% false. I don't know who started that. I don't know where it's coming from. I just want to let you guys know when I do invest in collectibles, in the most part, it's going after more rare or esoteric pieces. I do not like the common as day stuff. That's why even in comic books, guys, and I tell you this, when I go after comic books anymore, I tend to go after esoteric, high-end key Silver Age issues. I go after some Golden Age issues, or if I'm going after the Bronze Age, it has to be pieces that are, in my opinion, very scarce, but also in demand on the overall market. So your House of Secrets 92, your Batman 227s, items of that caliber. I do have an Incredible Hulk 181 CGC 9.4 in my collection. In all honesty, I'm kind of split. I probably should have sold it when the prices are high because I know I can get it back anytime. It is not rare. Try finding another one of these in AFA 90 plus or higher, and you'll see what I mean. There's one last point I do want to bring up before I end this video. If you are thinking of collecting proof cards, in my opinion, stick to proof cards that are graded AFA 85 or higher. That is just my advice to you guys, especially if you're going after the Revenge of the Jedi line, because like I said, there are 50 of each character in that line in existence. So better your odds by going after at least higher grade specimens. I see certain auction houses, I see certain individuals, they will grade a AFA Revenge of the Jedi proof card back and it'll come back in 75 condition or even 80 condition. In my opinion, unless I'm getting them for a steal, I will not buy them at that price. They gotta be in 85 or higher condition for me to pull the trigger. And kindly remember, AFA and toy grading uses a little bit of a different grading scale than that of comic books and other collectibles. So just keep in mind, an AFA 85 is actually a near mint plus specimen. This particular piece is near mint plus / mint condition because it's 90 plus. So you got to understand, you're dealing with a whole other grading scale than that of comic books, video games, and other pop culture collectibles. I hope you got something out of this video. Please let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Thank you for watching.